Epilogue. Avalon. Sir Lancelot landed at Dover and asked of the townspeople where King Arthur was. They showed him the grave of Sir Gawain, and there he knelt long in prayer, sorrowing for the death of a very noble knight who had been his friend. But of King Arthur they had no tidings, except that he had marched westward nearly a month before. Then Lancelot left all his men at Dover under the command of his cousin Sir Bors de Ganis, and rode away alone to the west, and after 8 days he came to Almesbury, and as the night was falling, sought shelter in the great nunnery there. The abbess received him kindly and led him towards the guest chamber, but as they passed by the cloisters, there came a nun who cried aloud when she saw Sir Lancelot, and fell down in a faint. And when they bent down beside her, behold, it was Queen Guinevere. That evening she told Sir Lancelot of a message that had come to her from Sir Bedivere, telling of the dreadful battle of Camlan on the day of destiny, and how he had seen King Arthur borne away sorely wounded into the unknown land of Avalon. And Sir Bedivere had made his way to the abbey of Glastonbury, which was not very far from the battlefield, and had there become a hermit, meaning to spend the rest of his days as a monk. And Guinevere told Lancelot of her sorrow and repentance. "For it is through our love that my lord King Arthur is slain, and with him most of the noblest knights of the world. And this land of Britain is laid open to the heathen Saxons, and the holy realm of Logris is no more. Therefore I came secretly hither, and made my vows to dwell a nun all the days that are left to me, praying God to forgive me for my grievous sin." "Now, my sweet lady," said Lancelot, "I will never be false to you. For here I swear that I too will take the vows that you have taken, and pass the rest of my days in prayer and fasting." Then they said goodbye to one another, knowing that this was the last time they would ever meet on earth. And in the morning Lancelot rode away until he came to Glastonbury, and there he found the ancient Archbishop of Canterbury and Sir Bedivere, who had become a monk. Gladly they welcomed Lancelot to their company, and in a little while he had flung away his sword and armor, and was clad in the coarse robes of a simple friar. There, many months later, Sir Bors came to join him when he had sent away the great army which had come over from France. For Constantine, the Duke of Cornwall, was king now, but little of the land of Britain could he keep from the Saxons. Years passed, and one night Lancelot dreamed that Guinevere lay dying, and called to him. In the morning he and 7 of his fellow monks set out to Almesbury, and found that she had died quietly during the night. Then Lancelot brought her to Glastonbury, and himself spoke the burial service over her. When she was laid in her grave, deep grave, near the high altar. But within a few weeks he too fell sick, and passed away quietly as one who had no longer any will to live. And when he lay waiting for burial, his brother Sir Hector de Marez came and stood beside his bier. "Ah, Lancelot," he said, "you were the best knight in all Christendom. You, Sir Lancelot, who lie there, never had nor never will have any to rival you. And you were the most courteous knight that ever bore shield, the truest friend that ever bestrode horse. You were the truest lover that ever loved woman, and the kindest man that ever wore a sword. You were the finest man that ever was seen in the company of knights, and the meekest and most gentle among ladies, but the sternest knight to your mortal foes that ever put spear to rest." And when Lancelot was buried, Sir Hector and Sir Bors, Sir Blamor and Sir Bleoberis, the only knights left living of the Fellowship of the Round Table, set forth on pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and there ended their days. So ended the realm of Logris, and all those who had lived and fought for the glory of God and the spreading of his will on earth. For very soon the Saxons had conquered the whole of Britain, and the Dark Ages descended upon all the western world. But never was King Arthur forgotten, and always the belief endured in Britain, and in Wales particularly, that he would come again to save his land in the hour of its dark, deadliest danger. That once more Britain should become the holy realm of Logris, the land of peace and righteousness, and a true Christian living. Round about the year 1200, it was announced suddenly that King Arthur was indeed dead, for the monks of Glastonbury had found his bones, laid in a stone coffin, buried in their precincts near to those of Queen Guinevere. This must be true, they reported, for beneath the coffin was a stone with a leaden cross sunk into it, and a Latin inscription saying, "Here lies King Arthur in this tomb with Guinevere his wife in the Isle of Avalon." The bones, they said, were of more than mortal size, and there were many more signs and wonders proving that here indeed lay King Arthur. The story, it seems, was invented by the monks to bring fresh glory to their abbey, and also to please the Norman kings of England, who did not like their conquered subjects to believe that King Arthur might return any day and release them from their new overlords. But we may think, if we like, that it was Lancelot and not Arthur whom the monks dug up in the reign of Richard Coeur de Lion and reburied with all honor in a marble tomb. And we may believe, too, that King Arthur still sleeps in some enchanted cave, perhaps in some vale of Avalon, in the deep mountain fastnesses of Wales. For there, so the legend is told, still in the haunted land of Gwynedd, a shepherd once met with a strange and mysterious man. "Beneath the tree from which that staff was cut," said the stranger, pointing to the hazel crook in the shepherd's hand, "lies hidden a vast hoard of treasure." And when the shepherd inquired further, he was told the secret of the cave. "In the doorway hangs a great bell," the stranger told him, "and you must not touch it, for if you do, the sleepers in the cave will wake." And when he had said this, the stranger vanished mysteriously, and the shepherd rubbed his eyes, thinking that he had dreamed a dream. But not long afterwards, while seeking for a lost sheep high among the mountain crags, he came to a little valley and recognized the hazel tree at the head of it as that from which he had cut his crook when climbing among the rocks as a boy. So he went up to the tree, and there under its roots, sure enough, was a narrow cave entrance. Into it he went on his hands and knees, and presently found himself in a dark, great cavern, where he struck a light and lit a candle which he happened to have in his pocket. And holding it above his head, he beheld the marvels of the place. All around in a great circle lay warriors sleeping, each of them clad in old armor and with a sword by his side. And upon a couch in the midst of lay an ancient king who wore a golden crown and held in his hand a shining sword with a jeweled cross-hilt, while at his feet lay great heaps of gold and silver. Amazed at what he saw, the shepherd stepped backward suddenly, and by ill luck struck against the great bell which hung over the doorway, and as its deep tones echoed through the cavern, the old king on the couch woke out of his sleep and sat slowly up. "Is it day?" he asked. And the shepherd, trembling in terror, cried, he hardly knew why, "No, no, therefore sleep on." And then the king said, "You say well. I will sleep once more until the day comes when I shall rise and bring victory to the people of Britain. Take of the silver and gold that lies before you, and get you gone speedily. For if my knights awake before it is time, they will slay you, and then there will be none to speak the words which you have spoken, and which send me now back to my long rest." Then the king slept once more, and the shepherd took as much gold and silver as he could carry and fled from the place. But never again, though he sought for it often, could he find the cave under the hazel tree which led to the mysterious cavern where sleep King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table.